Thank you, Professor. This year, the opening panel will address the issue of challenges and conflict in the Middle East. Our first keynote speaker is Brigadier General in Reserve Eival Giladi, Chairman of Western Galilee College Board of Trustees, and Chairman of the Northern Goals Association. We kindly ask you to wait with the questions until the speakers have lectures.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. And first, I want to congratulate you, Nissim, for organizing this important conference and all the institute. I see Hagit. I think it's very important. But as we spoke, what should be our opening remarks, we thought that I better not go to the different measures that you did so well, but I try to zoom out, see the big picture, and I would like to leave you with a question at the end. If Israel is so strong, and I believe for whatever we look at different parameters economically, the GDP per capita, technology, medical, agriculture, wherever you go, you're going to see that we're no doubt the leading or a leading power in the Middle East. And the question I would like to leave you with is, do we really use these facts smartly enough? Do we really take advantage of our abilities to create better future internally and externally? And I think this is something that is not the focus of the research that was done, but I think it would be important to look at. When I'm trying to look at the big picture, I look at 1947, and I would start by saying that the Arab leaders were not wrong or were not irrational when they rejected the partition plan. They looked on the map and they saw that from Morocco on the west to Iraq in the east, from Syria in the north to Yemen in the south, it's all Muslim and all Arab. And they asked themselves, why should such a small, tiny country of Jewish people in this Muslim and Arab world be? And the answer for them was, I'm talking about 1947, there's no way it would be. They have no chance. I mean, we're talking about a few, 650,000 Jewish people surrounded by millions, no natural resources here. Oil played a very important role at that time. If you take any military equation, number of whatever you want to see, from soldiers, tanks, or anything, it seems like there's no way. Now, I start this way because I say, for us at that time, just the simple existence of Israel in the Middle East was a strategic victory. All we wanted is acceptance. If we can exist in the Middle East, this is a great success. From their perspective, and I don't mean to say that this is exactly the situation today, but at that time, from the Arab leadership perspective, if Israel exists, this is a strategic loss. Now, I say it because the 20th century, I believe, is a miracle of Israel among nations. And I think the fact that we not just survived, but developed and grew the way we did, as we look at the numbers and all of what your research shows, it's unbelievable. Now, the first one to understand it was King Hussein. He was the first one to understand that we're here to stay. He was not strong enough to do public peace with us, but effectively, since 1970, we had de facto peace with Jordan. Now, it started because I see some of you are old enough to remember September 1970, what we call Black September, after the PLO took over parts of Jordan and they tried to build a state within a state, and King Hussein was trying to cope them, and it was very hard, and the Syrians wanted to help. And this is, we all know Hafez al-Assad, the father of the current President Bashar al-Assad, but this is also before his time, because he came to power in November 1970. This is September. I'm looking for Ronen. I saw him before. He's probably the only one who may remember Salah Jadid, who was in power at that time in Syria and wanted to help the PLO by sending the Syrian coming from north. So King Hussein, having no problem, came to Golda Meir, Prime Minister of Israel at that time, and asked for help. And she did. And she did two things. One, she deployed two Israeli divisions. And secondly, she made a statement that the longest border of Israel on our east side is of extreme importance for us to remain stable. And this message was well received in Syria, and it saved Jordan at that time. Now, I say it because King Hussein was not strong enough at that time to make public peace with us. There were two, I would say, preconditions for him. One, Jordan could not be the first country to have peace with us. And the second one, the Israeli-Palestinian issue has to be resolved, or at least to be on tracks, on a path for a solution. So in 1977, after President Sadat came to Israel and it developed to peace with Egypt, we met the first condition. And once we had the Oslo Accord in September 1993, it opened the way for a public peace with Jordan in 1994. Now, I would say today, if we look at Jordan, this is the longest border we have, a peaceful and quiet border, in many ways based on good work that the Jordanians are doing. And I'll leave you with the first question, as I said before. Having the Israeli supremacy in technology, in economics, in agriculture, in medical, in industry, in everything we have, do we truly use smartly our economic strength to develop our relationships with Jordan? My answer is no, we don't. And I think we should. And I can take it all around. And I'm not going to take it too long as just opening remarks. But I will go to the second point, which is the Israeli-Palestinian relationships. And again, I'm not going to go back the whole way, but I would just look at the last 10 years, which I would call the lost decade of Israel. We lost the last second decade of the 21st century is a lost decade internally and externally. And I would look not just at the Palestinian, I would do it through the Palestinian. Now we have a new government now and a lot of hopes, but you all know that this government is comprised of 8 different parties, truly from right to left, and it seems like many things will have to be parked for a while. As you look for the previous government, we've been governed by the same prime minister for the last 12 years. Have we truly moved forward? Now, yes, we all understand, and if I want to present Netanyahu's perspective to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in a fair way, I would say that Netanyahu truly believes that there is no way for final peace agreement with the Palestinians in one step. And he believes this is not going to happen, it's not behind the corner. It's not going to be next year. And if this is the case, he needs to prepare the Israeli people for a process that will take longer, whether it's going to take 5 or 8 or 10 years. And he also knows that the other side is not prepared for a full final agreement in one step. You all know Abu Mazen, he is 85, he's nearly 86. I think in November he's going to be 86. And Netanyahu didn't see him as a partner. So if there is no way to go for a full peace agreement, there is nothing to do. I disagree with this. I think we cannot go for a full peace agreement, but there is a lot to be done. And when I say there is a lot to be done, I'm not talking just about policy and security, different steps to move forward, but I'm going back again to our economic power and strength. And as I said, I would like to leave you with the questions. After you see all those measures and you see how strong we are on democracy parameters, on women participation, not just in labor market, in governing systems, technology, the use of smartphone, high-speed internet, and all of those elements, could we do better using our economic power to influence regionally? Internally, I didn't say, we will leave it for later. We sit in the northern part of Israel, and I'm not going to talk now about the inequality within Israel, but are we using our economic strength smartly? I would say again, I'm not sure. And just as opening remarks, I would suggest that you take a short tour around and you see Lebanon collapsing in our north, can we do something? You see Syria totally destroyed after a long civil war. I just mentioned Jordan. We can go to Egypt. And I'm not sure that just having the Abraham agreements with Abu Dhabi or the Gulf countries is the only way for using our technology and economic strength. So I suggest that I stop here as opening remarks, but I think we should try and see what are the conclusions for the power we have for better use of it. Thank you.